Now, most people probably think that college sports started out as a non-economic endeavor, as a way to enhance the undergraduate experience, yet you reveal otherwise, that it was actually commercial in nature right from the get-go.
It was. It initially, there was a brief period of sort of purity, if you want to put it that way, because it was modeled after the English boarding school system, where they played cricket and rugby and soccer and that sort of thing. And some of the early universities in the United States, Harvard, Yale, places like that, it did start off as sort of intercollegiate sports within the campus. But the very first time, what's considered the very first NCAA event was this sort of corrupt event that happened on Lake Winnipesaukee. It was a rowing contest between Harvard and Yale. And the reason it didn't happen on the Charles River, which is where a lot of the sculling competitions are today, is because it was totally a commercial endeavor. It was put together by this guy who ran the Boston-Montreal Railroad, and the whole idea was to get wealthy alumni to A, ride the railroad, and B, go to Lake Winnipesaukee and spend the weekend. He got a cut of everything. The players all got graft. They got paid cash. They got paid little trinkets like silver rowing oars from Tiffany's, valued at like $500, which in the 1850s was a lot of money. And so it really was corrupt from the very beginning. There was really, as you said, no golden age of college athletics where it was just all about sportsmanship and being gentlemen.
And when did the first known instance of eligibility violation occur?
Well, actually, that we're filming here outside of Boston, and it happened at Harvard. And it was in 1855, and the Harvard coxswain was actually a alumni who was a very good athlete who they brought back to beat Yale. So that was one of the first violations, and there were all sorts of violations, mostly early on involving alumni or professional players that would come back and pose as students and then compete to help them win this competition and then just go away.
Is that what happened with college baseball?
It is. There was a lot of professional baseball teams back then. It was before the Major League Baseball was organized. There was a guy named Lee Richmond who played for the Worcester Sentinels, not too far from here. He was an alumnus of Harvard. He came back and helped them win a game. There was also a guy, Walter Clarkson, who came back and played for Yale. And there were all sorts of deals that these players got. It really was a mix between professional and collegiate athletics at that point.
So it started commercially right from the beginning. When did the corruption start?
Almost immediately. I mean, with that, as I said, that Harvard Yale rowing match is considered the first intercollegiate match, and that was corrupt. And then football was very big in the late 19th century. That was the collegiate sport, football and baseball, and there were all sorts of examples of professional athletes, again, coming back to campus after their eligibility had run out. Of course, I'd say eligibility, but there was no NCAA at this point, but it was understood. It was sort of a gentleman's agreement that these were students and that they were playing other students, and in reality, that wasn't the case.
And what role did the Ivy Leagues play in the early college athletics?
Well, the Ivy Leagues were, for the longest time, dominant powerhouses, right up through to the 40s, pretty much. It was after that they got out of it, but early on, Yale football was huge. Yale had a $100,000 sort of slush fund that they used to pay players. They, in addition to getting free tuition, they were really paid to play on the football team. There were a lot of sweetheart deals where they would get a cut of concession sales, program sales. There are even examples of schools like Yale and Harvard, which you would think had a lot of academic integrity, of arranging jobs for players afterwards. I mean, we see that go on today. But again, it's to your point, a lot of people sort of think there was this golden age of college athletics when it was all pure and about sportsmanship, and it really didn't exist.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.